What's up, guys? Today I'm going to do a quick trade breakdown of the trade I took on EU during London session. I made almost 2 grand across 4 accounts, so 250 accounts and two 25k accounts. And the trade breakdown will be of the 29th of December London session. Let's get straight into it. Now, what we're going to do is first understand the context of the price. We're going to be focusing on the swing highs, swing lows. We're going to see what the price induced, what it did not induce, what it respected. Is it creating efficiencies? Is it, creating a bearish momentum or a bullish momentum? We're going to do a breakdown of that. And we're going to do that through answering 3 questions, right? And those 3 questions are basically the 3 W's. I'm going to write it down for the people that are not aware of it. First question you're going to ask yourself is, where is the price coming from, right? So understanding the context of the swing high, the low, understanding what liquidity it induced, what it respected, that's going to tell you whether swing high or low is strong enough to hold or whether it can be induced again, right? So that's your first question. Secondly, you're going to ask yourself, where is the price right now? Is it close to inducing a swing low? Is it far away from it? Can we aim towards a weak swing point? This is going to, help you understand by looking at where the price is exactly at London Open. Now, number 3 is, where can we potentially deliver? Okay, now answering these 3 questions one by one is going to tell us whether we're going to look for buys or sells in whatever session you're trading, whether you're a scalper, intraday, swing trader. I think through these 3 questions, understanding what the price wants to potentially do can be understood really, really well. Now, looking at the extreme swing point here, the price is creating higher highs, higher lows, right? Creates the high of this range here. That's the supply zone. Now, you can see that price actually pushes down but tries to break past the supply zone quite a few times. You have the first attempt, second attempt, price comes back up again to break past it but fails to do so. Now, what that is basically showing me is that the buyers do not have enough fuel in the market to push past it. They don't have enough liquidity to actually induce this entire supply zone. So what they're basically doing is, as they're trying to break past it, they're actually creating lower highs and lower lows. So you have some sort of a bearish momentum happening as well. So this swing point here, clear supply zone, tries to break past a few times, fails to do so. What is it doing instead? It's creating lower highs and lower lows, right? Now, this is the start of our daily cycle, right? And this here is the start of London session. But even now, right, to understand, whether this swing point has taken some strong liquidity for it to go higher, I need to be looking at what is it reacting off to the left. Okay, whether I should be bullish at this point here or I should be looking for further sells is going to be indicated through this swing low. Now, if I look at this swing low, which is Asia low, we can clearly tell that it's coming out of a build-up. Right, and we know that price reacting off a build-up or inefficient price action, it usually signifies a weak structural point. Okay, that means that this does not have enough liquidity to actually push the price higher. What it can do potentially is create a bit of a fake out, which it did. You can see bullish candles forming, and this could be a fake out to get early buyers. Because what we want potentially the price to do is come down, take this entire build-up, not half of it, entirety of it, maybe tap into this efficiency point to the downside, and then maybe we can, look for some sort of buys targeting objectives to the upside. However, at this point here, knowing that this swing point is not actually strong, I'm not going to be looking for any sort of buys. What I'm actually going to be looking for is sells, right? So what I want the price to do, and you might see some markings already here, is basically when I took the trade. So what I'll do is I'll remove some of the markings and we'll do it again. I'll mark up the chart again when I come down the time frames, right? Now, this is just to understand the context of the price, right? Now I know what the swing high was doing, what the swing low is doing, what it can potentially do. Price is here at the moment. Now what I'll do is I will show you the correlated pair as well. which is GU, and it has, you know, something similar happening at the same time. You have the supply zone. Again, it attempted to break past it quite a few times. Let me just reverse the price to the start of London. Okay, right. Now you have the price, you know, trying to break past it quite a few times, but again, failing to do so. Instead, what it's doing is creating lower highs and lower lows, sweeping more liquidity, trying to break to the downside, goes higher up, Asia high, which is today's Asia high, sweeps this build up here and tries to break past to the downside. Now, potentially, again, this is the same scenario that we see on EU. What it's trying to do is basically grab more liquidity to eventually break past the supply zone. I am looking for price to, you know, whether it's this week or next week, to go higher up and to induce the supply zone there. And there's a lot of build up to the left as well. If you go up the time frame, you'll see that as well. That I want the price to actually eventually induce, right? But I know for that to happen, price has to grab good sort of liquidity to the downside. Now in this case here, you have this medium inducement, which is previous day's low, so Friday 26th of December low. That is a good target for the price to induce. Another one is this swing point here. We also know that we have inefficiencies to the downside, so fairly good objectives that the price can tap into, induce, and then reverse from there. Okay, that's your GU. Fairly simple. We'll go on DXY, which is the inversely correlated pair. And now what we're going to do is we're going to have a quick look at DXY. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go to DXY and we're going to have a quick look at that as well. Now, I don't heavily rely on DXY if EU and GU are printing a clear price action. But just for the context of today's trade, I'll go on DXY as well, and I'll break down what I saw and why I was actually bearish on EU GU. So DXY is inversely correlated, meaning that if EU and GU are bullish, DXY is going to be bearish. If EU GU is bearish, DXY is going to be bullish, right? So again, what we're going to do, we're going to look at the swing points. Looking at this swing point here, which was last week's Tuesday low, what did it do? It took this entire gap. It also took all of these relatively equal lows, took this liquidity here as well. So the context of the price of this swing low is actually pretty solid. Now what it did was it went higher. So what it's doing is, as it's going up, it's actually inducing more liquidity for the price to get pushed higher. You have inducement of this liquidity, then you have inducement of this liquidity by the swing point, and price, you know, keeps pushing higher. Then you have inducement of this low here, which is today's Asia low, and price, you know, keeps on building that bullish momentum. Now, potentially, what I want DXY to do is fill in this previous week's opening gap. Now, that is the story on DXY and GBP USD. Now, we'll go back to Euro USD because that's the pair that actually traded. What we're going to do is we're going to move to M15 and we're going to mark a point of interest to potentially look for some sort of sales. Now, the point of interest, there's actually quite a few of them. We have, obviously, the most obvious one, which is Asia high, minor inducement. It also comes with a bit of a imbalance, which is great. So that's your imbalance right there. Another point of interest, so my middle time frame, which is M15 and M5, these two time frames are basically the ones that I usually mark my point of interest on. So on M15, the most obvious one is obviously the Asia high. When I drop down on M5, there's another one, which is this one here, the high probability efficiency point. The price can potentially go towards and then give us some sort of lower time frame confirmation to get into some sort of sell. So price could either do something like this, or we could have the second scenario, which is price going up, inducing minor, and then going further down, right? Regardless of which point of interest it taps into, we still need to see a lower time frame confirmation. We need to see a trade entry model for us to get into some sort of sell, right? So I'm going to quickly remove this just to keep the chart a bit clean. Now what we're going to do is we're going to drop to M1 and we're going to play the price a bit. Let's slow down the speed and we're going to play the price. Okay, here London's open just now. What it's doing is, all right, let's break it down here as well. It's reacting off a build up right now. That is, again, for instance, if I was meant to be bullish, then I would want the entirety of the build-up to be taken. Right now, what is it doing? It's reacting of the middle of the build-up, right? So we're going to keep playing the price. That is just for a bullish scenario, right? Although I am looking for sells. All right, price goes higher, pushes higher. Potentially exciting, a lot of sellers from this point here. And, you know, whoever was bullish, they probably got into some sort of buys from this point on. So a lot of liquidity actually resting at London high and low. All right, goes higher. Perfect. All right, so it tapped into the first point of interest, but it did not give us any sort of entry model. So what I do is instead let the price do whatever it wants to do and let it hit my second point of interest, which was Asia high. Now, once Asia high was taken, that is when I'm like, right, you know, I can expect the price to actually give me some sort of a entry model right here. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to look at the entry model that I took to get into a sell position that made me almost $2,000. What we're going to do is we're going to get to the start of London on GU as well, because it was actually a divergence entry model. Now at this point here, when price is at my point of interest, all I had to do was wait for an entry model, and the entry model came in the form of a divergence. So I'm going to play the price a bit, maybe slow it down even more. Anyway, right, let's look at it. So the entry model basically was a divergence between EU and GU. EU, which was the stronger pair to take because it is the one that mitigated. So we have a swing high 351 and 353. So it is actually respecting the swing point, whereas on the other asset, it is manipulating, right? The same time window almost. So here's the thing. When there's a divergence like that created on your entry time frame, that becomes your entry model. Another thing that I forgot to mention, probably should do it anyway, so let me just go back. Let's go back to M15 here. Is that price also, or even H1 actually. Price also created a high time frame divergence. What I mean by that is that on EU, London high actually went up to induce Asia high. So you have a higher time frame divergence here. Higher time frame divergence. And on GU, price did not induce Asia high, actually respected it. This just acts like a confluence towards whatever my bias is for the session. Right, so this was on the higher time frame. Now on the lower time frame, however, the entry time frame, when a divergence like this is given, that becomes an entry model. So what I had to do was I had to wait for a break of structure of this low here. Once that break of structure is given, that was my sign to get into the market. However, I didn't get into right at the break of structure. It was a bit of a delayed entry, and all I wanted was a 1 to 3. Now I could have easily targeted, you know, further down. You know, this was a build up as well. Could have targeted Asia low, but because, you know, we're approaching the end of the year, market's a bit slow. We're not completely out of the holiday season right now, so just wanted to take my 1 to 3 and call it a day. And that 1 to 3 across 4 accounts in total made me $2,000, and I was happy with it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to play the price. Made a bit of a pullback, was in a bit of a drawdown, and then boom, that's it. There, all done. 1 to 3.03 if I'm being precise, but that was the trade that I took on EU today during London session. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I will catch you in the next one. Take it easy.